Let's get started with our first big news. Merab Dvalishvili wants to fight Corey Sandhagen next. Yes, you heard that right. Merab is aiming to defend his bantamweight title against Corey if he successfully beats Sean O'Malley this coming weekend. And from the way Merab is talking, he's not just hoping, it sounds like he's already planning for it. Speaking confidently about his goals, Merab said, "I will be happy if I fight 2 more times this year." That statement alone shows how eager he is to stay active and keep the momentum going. Now, this potential matchup between Merab and Corey Sandhagen is one that fans have been waiting for. These two have never stepped into the octagon together, and stylistically, it promises fireworks. Merab was full of respect for Corey, calling him a great contender, someone who has fought everyone in the division, has a very good style, and above all, is a dangerous threat to anyone standing across from him in the cage. That's high praise from a reigning champion. Merab went on to say, "He's beaten a lot of guys in our division. I don't mind taking another quick turnaround fight and then one more at the end of this year, either in New York or my new home in Las Vegas." That's not just ambition, that's hunger. Merab clearly has his eyes on building a legacy, and he's not looking to sit on the sidelines. He wants to stay active, keep fighting, and keep proving why he's the best. Now, while we're talking about upcoming action, there's another major announcement in the works. Dan Ige will go head-to-head with Patricio Pitbull at UFC 318 on July 19th. Eagle is coming off a dominant third-round TKO victory over Sean Woodson, showing once again why he's a force in his weight class. On the other side, Pitbull will be stepping into the octagon with something to prove, looking to bounce back after his recent unanimous decision loss to Yair Rodriguez. This fight is crucial for both fighters. One is trying to build on momentum, the other is hungry for redemption, and that's not all. Another exciting bout has been added to UFC Vegas 108, set for August 2nd. Azamat Bakoyev will face off against Torres Finney, and this one has fight of the night potential written all over it. Bakoyev comes in with a strong 23 record and is on an incredible 8-fight winning streak. His last outing, a first-round TKO over Ryan Loder, an explosive finish that turned heads. Finney, however, isn't backing down. He's currently unbeaten at 11-0 and coming off a narrow split decision win against Robert Valentin. Both men are undefeated in spirit and ready to make a statement. With so much at stake, expect fireworks when these two collide. This is a matchup you won't want to miss. Now, let's talk about something that's been buzzing around the MMA community lately. There's been some serious speculation and growing talk about Bryce Mitchell potentially making a major change in his career. While nothing has been made official just yet, multiple sources have reported that Mitchell is planning to move down a weight class, from featherweight to bantamweight, and if these reports are accurate, he's expected to face Cejudo Kakramonov at UFC Abu Dhabi on July 26th. This would be a huge shift, not just for Bryce, but for the bantamweight division as a whole. Mitchell has been a staple in the featherweight scene for a while now. Known for his intense grappling, unorthodox fighting style, and strong personality, he's built a solid fan base and reputation, so the idea of him cutting down to 135 pounds has definitely raised some eyebrows. Now, let's break this down. Bryce Mitchell is coming off a tough second-round submission loss to Jonathan Martinez. That fight showed some vulnerabilities and likely forced Bryce and his team to rethink their strategy going forward. A move to bantamweight could be an attempt to find a better matchup physically, where he may feel stronger, faster, and more dominant against smaller opponents. But make no mistake, a weight cut this significant is never easy, especially for someone who's already been competing at a high level. The big question now is, how will his body handle the transition? On the other side, Cejudo Kakramonov is coming into this rumored fight after a unanimous decision loss to Vinicius Oliveira. Despite the loss, Kakramonov is no slouch. He's a gritty, aggressive fighter with strong wrestling and powerful striking. A win over Bryce Mitchell could skyrocket his standing in the bantamweight division. For both men, this is a critical matchup, a turning point in their careers. If this fight is confirmed, fans should expect fireworks. Bryce has always been entertaining both inside and outside the cage. He brings a unique skill set to any matchup and loves to push the pace. And Kakramonov, he's got the tools to spoil any party and will be hungry to prove himself after his last outing. Overall, this move, if it happens, is a massive shakeup in the UFC. Not only does it add more depth to the already stacked bantamweight division, but it also gives Bryce a fresh start and a chance to reinvent himself in a new weight class. Whether this decision will lead to a resurgence in his career or further struggles is yet to be seen. But one thing's for sure, fans will be watching. Bryce Mitchell at bantamweight could be one of the most intriguing storylines of the year. Let's see if this rumor becomes reality at UFC Abu Dhabi on July 26th. Moving on, there's been an intriguing back and forth between Kamaru Usman and Henry Cejudo regarding their predictions for one of the most anticipated fights on the UFC 316 card, the co-main event between Kayla Harrison and Juliana Pena. The debate centers around a simple yet complex question: who wins when grit meets Olympic pedigree? Henry Cejudo, the former two-division champ and Olympic gold medalist himself, has made his stance clear. He's skeptical about Pena's striking abilities and believes Kayla Harrison is the favorite to win. Cejudo didn't mince words. He pointed out that Pena's stand-up game doesn't match up well against someone with Kayla's physicality, judo control, and relentless pace. He said, "There's a dog in Juliana, but her grappling doesn't match well with someone like Kayla, who's a two-time Olympic champion. She won the Olympics twice. Man, I'm not trying to do push-ups every time she wins again." But Kamaru Usman wasn't convinced. He pushed back hard on Cejudo's take. Usman said, "Listen, you saying she ain't got the hands on her? No, I don't say that, because Juliana Pena stood toe-to-toe with Amanda Nunes, and we all know Amanda Nunes is probably the most devastating female striker we've ever seen. Pena wasn't afraid. She went in there, brought the dog out of herself, and submitted the GOAT." Usman wasn't done. He doubled down on Pena's resilience and championship grit. Not only did she do that, but she also lost the title and came back to win it. Everyone thought Raquel Pennington was going to beat her, but no. Pena came back strong and got that title again. According to Usman, this level of mental toughness and championship experience can't be counted out, even when facing an elite competitor like Kayla. And that's where this debate gets so fascinating. On one side, you have Kayla Harrison, a two-time Olympic gold medalist, a physical powerhouse with a dominant grappling style that suffocated almost every opponent she's faced. Her accolades are undeniable, and her potential in the UFC seems limitless. Her resume speaks for itself. On the other hand, you've got Juliana Pena, a former bantamweight champion, someone who shocked the world by dethroning Amanda Nunes. She's been counted out before and still rose to the occasion. She doesn't have the Olympic medals, but she has heart, experience, and the ability to absorb punishment and fire back under pressure. So what does it come down to? Grit versus pedigree, experience versus credentials, war-tested toughness versus technical mastery. Whatever side of the argument you're on, one thing's for sure: UFC 316 is shaping up to be something very special. This co-main event isn't just a fight, it's a collision of worlds, and fans around the globe will be watching closely to see whose style prevails. In another exciting headline, Arman Tsarukyan has officially revealed that he will be joining Khamzat Chimaev's training camp as he prepares for his massive showdown against Dricus du Plessis, set to go down at UFC 319 on August 16th. This announcement was made during a recent press conference held in Russia, where Arman briefly spoke about his upcoming involvement in Team Chimaev's camp. While Arman didn't dive too deep into the specifics, what he did share was enough to get fans buzzing. Tsarukyan made it clear that this isn't just about helping Khamzat, it's also a valuable opportunity for him to sharpen his own arsenal by training alongside one of the most feared welterweights in the sport. As he put it, this is about mutual growth, high-level sparring, and pushing each other to the next level. This partnership between two elite fighters is more than just an interesting footnote. It could have real implications for the landscape of multiple divisions in the UFC. On one hand, you have Khamzat Chimaev, a fighter known for his unrelenting aggression, elite grappling, and killer instinct. He's remained undefeated inside the octagon and has been on a warpath, smashing through opponents with a mix of wrestling dominance and explosive power. With a bout against Dricus du Plessis on the horizon, who is no slouch and currently riding his own wave of momentum, Khamzat needs all the top-tier prep he can get, and bringing in someone like Arman Tsarukyan could be exactly what takes his camp to the next level. On the other side, side, Arman Tsarukyan himself is one of the top lightweight contenders and is widely considered a future title challenger. His performances inside the octagon have shown technical brilliance, slick wrestling, and incredible cardio. Training with Khamzat, who brings a very different kind of pressure and physicality, could be just what Arman needs to level up and prepare for his next step in the lightweight title race. What makes this pairing so compelling is the intensity both of these guys bring to the gym. Neither of them is known for holding back. They train hard and they train with purpose. That means this isn't just your standard training partnership. It's likely to be a war zone in the gym, with both athletes pushing each other to their absolute limits. And let's not forget, while Arman is a lightweight and Khamzat competes at middleweight and welterweight, the skill exchange across weight classes can offer huge benefits. Tsarukyan gets to feel the strength and pressure of a bigger fighter, while Khamzat sharpens his speed and technique against a quicker, more agile opponent. So whether you're a fan of Khamzat's explosive style or Arman's slick technique, this training camp collaboration is great news for MMA fans. It's a win-win situation, and it could end up elevating both of their careers in a big way. Keep an eye on this duo because they're coming for everything. Now let's talk about the legendary Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson, who recently shared some intriguing insights about how someone, possibly Charles Oliveira, could be the one to dethrone the undefeated featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. In a recent sit-down with coach Tim Welch, Johnson gave fans a technical and strategic breakdown, shedding light on a potential weakness in Topuria's otherwise dominant game. Johnson began by highlighting one specific area where Topuria hasn't been fully tested yet: the clinch. "I think someone who's able to expose Ilia in the clinch could be successful," Johnson explained. "He's phenomenal at fighting from range. He throws these crisp 5-punch combinations, keeps his distance well, and knows exactly when to pull back. But in the clinch, we haven't really seen him tested. That's where things get interesting." According to Johnson, while Topuria has looked untouchable in his previous fights, dominating with his boxing, footwork, and timing, there's still a question mark around how he handles close quarters combat. Johnson believes that if you get past the distance and smother his space, the fight changes. "When someone gets in close, Ilia's going to have to make fast decisions," Johnson said. "Is he going to shoot for a takedown? Is he going to pull guard? Will he try to clinch back and control? We haven't really seen him under that type of pressure, and that is the area where a guy like Charles Oliveira can thrive." Johnson then painted a vivid picture of how Oliveira, known for his dangerous Muay Thai clinch and lethal jiu-jitsu, could potentially break Topuria's rhythm. If Charles gets the clinch, he can go body, body, head, and after that, there's still room for a knee. It's all about give and take in the clinch, controlling posture, landing shots, and keeping your opponent guessing. He added with a bit of a smile, "If it were me fighting Ilia, I wouldn't play around at range. He hits too hard out there, and his timing is sharp. If I shoot recklessly, he'll probably defend and counter, but up close, that's where the elbows and knees come out. That's where someone like Charles can do real damage." But Johnson didn't stop there. He even teased the idea of facing Topuria himself, saying, "I still want a mighty journey with Ilia, just to put him in that clinch and see how he reacts. Win or lose, that's a test I'd love to bring to him." This breakdown wasn't just a fan theory, it was a masterclass in strategy from one of the most intelligent and accomplished fighters in MMA history. And when a mind like Mighty Mouse is pointing out vulnerabilities, it's time to pay attention. Whether or not Oliveira or anyone else can exploit this area remains to be seen. But one thing's for sure, if you want to beat Ilia Topuria, you might need to get close and make it ugly. But things got even spicier when Ilia Topuria finally responded to the recent comments made by Khamzat Chimaev. The tension between these two elite fighters is heating up fast, and the MMA community is watching this rivalry closely. It all started last month when Khamzat was asked about a potential future matchup between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Topuria. Without hesitation, he backed Islam to win. But this wasn't just about fighting skills, it was about brotherhood. Khamzat made it clear, loyalty comes first. He highlighted his cultural and religious bond with Islam, saying those relationships mean more to him than any octagon debate. But beneath that loyalty was a warning. Khamzat didn't appreciate some of the things Ilia had been saying about Islam and the rest of his team. He kept his tone respectful, but you could feel the resentment bubbling underneath. These two weren't strangers. They used to train together, even cornered Guram Kutateladze during his UFC run, and shared some brutal sparring sessions that have become almost mythic in hardcore MMA circles. But now, the gloves are off. In a recent podcast appearance, Ilia Topuria finally fired back, directly responding to Khamzat's comments about wrestling. wrestling. Ilia didn't flinch. He said, "You can't analyze wrestling like that. You never know how it's going to go. I've seen Russian guys wrestle Americans, and sometimes it's a toss-up. There's no guarantee." He broke it down further. Some guys are amazing at striking. Some are dominant in wrestling, but not all of them are complete fighters. Me? I'm good everywhere. You can take me to the ground. You can strike with me. I'm comfortable in every area. Then came the fire. Ilia said, "They always say, we're going to take you to deep water, but I was born in the deep water. You can't drown me. I live there." He made it clear that if he were to fight Islam or anyone from that camp, they'd be in for a war. "I have too many weapons," Ilia added. "I know Islam is going to have a hard time with me. All I need is one punch, and you know I'm going to connect that punch." This back and forth is getting intense. There's still a layer of mutual respect, but it's fading fast. Tension is rising, and fans are hungry to see this settled inside the cage. Because when history, loyalty, and legacy collide, the octagon becomes a battlefield. Stay locked in. This rivalry might just explode into something unforgettable.